So thanks everybody for joining today's session. This is the kickoff of our Pathways to Value series. The Pathways to Value series is really going to look at how Edge and the vendor community work together to effectively create value in the use of our EdgeMarket co-op and to create value for the end users, our higher ed and public sector community at the end of the day, and how we can all sort of partner together to do that. So really appreciate you spending the time with us this afternoon. Um, we know every minute you spend with us is a minute, away from engaging directly with an institution or reaching out and being able to do some of those things if you're an account executive. So we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with Edge. And the point of this is to really help to illuminate and help you to navigate how to best use EdgeMarket if you're an EdgeMarket partner vendor today, if you are an award recipient, and how to think about EdgeMarket and how to think about engaging with EdgeMarket in the future if you're not. So we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. I'm Adam Scarzafava, VP for Marketing, Business Development, and Events at Edge. So I'm responsible for all of our member and prospective member engagement efforts. That ends up including solution development and contract and strategy development on the EdgeMarket side. And I have the immense pleasure of working with Dan Miller on that side, and I'll let Dan introduce himself.
Well, thank you, Adam, and good afternoon or good morning, everybody. I know I have a fellow Arizonan on the call as well, Joe Trano. So thank you very much. We've been looking forward to this. I'm Dan Miller. I'm the AVP for EdgeMarket and Solution Strategy. I have the distinct pleasure of being part of Adam's team, and we work collectively in very creative ways. So it's a lot of fun to be a part of this community, and you are a very substantial part of that dynamic. That's very, very positive. We've been looking forward to having this event. We think excuse me. Arizona weather is dry, and I think I've just been hit by that dryness. So we are looking forward to this. We have a bit of an agenda that will follow, and this will be a bit more perhaps presentation heavy than the subsequent ones will be, because we know some people are on here that are new. We'll make this full presentation available to all of you to socialize. But we want to put EdgeMarket on the map. First, by kicking off this quarterly webinar. That's what we seek to have it be. Explain, for those of you that aren't familiar with EdgeMarket, what it is, what we do, what it isn't, and then the activities that we are pursuing, which largely exist around the procurement pipeline that we're always right in the middle of. We're going to talk a bit about our Pathways to Value magazine, a wonderful new instrument to create a real national megaphone for EdgeMarket, and through that magazine, you. And we're going to hear from one of you, Linda Mazzoil from CBTS, who is featured first up in our inaugural issue, and she's going to talk about how she, as a multi-awardee within the EdgeMarket portfolio and community, has really helped CBTS to leverage their great sets of resources and services and develop outstanding, value-added, highly impactful, in the most positive way, relationships with our members and with the Edge team. And that'll flow into our conveyance to you about how to leverage this relationship. If you already have it, or you're seeking or interested in considering it, we're here to help you be successful, because then that delivers on our mission. So Pathways to Value, the webinar series, quarterly form, and it's really for you, whether you're awarded or, as Adam said, interested in this. We want to be practical, direct. We want it to absolutely be worth your time. So not talking heads and presentations. For the most part, we want it to be conversational. We'll talk about pipelines and opportunities and how to think of them, seeking your input as well to that notion. The vendor voices are very important to us. We want you to understand how EdgeMarket works and the way to leverage that, and very open for dialogue. And we know it's the vendor community, and typically you might not want to necessarily or imagine being in the same room at the same time, but we think we could talk about the things that make all boats rise in the same increasing harbor, and that's what we want to be able to create. be about 45 minutes. We'll leave most time for open Q&A. That'll be the goal. So first of all, what is EdgeMarket? And we're NJ Edge's or Edge cooperative purchasing platform. We're statutorily created as an organization, and we're statutorily authorized to operate a co-op to solve the procurement problem, get over the procurement hurdle. So in particular, our public sector entities, but by extension, all of our private members can leverage the work we do to do really well-formed, very competitive bids that give us access to, and our members access to, the great solution providers like yourselves, whether it be hardware, software, services, et cetera, all in the realm and in the service of technology primarily that supports our members in their pursuit of their respective missions. They're legally compliant, so we do all of the work that we have to do to make these bids stand the test of scrutiny, and we have a number of statutory authorizations, including that of broad lead agency status in New Jersey. That's not just higher ed, it's all K-12, and it's all forms of local government and affiliated healthcare. So pretty broad stroke in terms of New Jersey. The co-op gives us that same kind of a footprint outside of New Jersey as well, and we're in 28 states, including New Jersey, and growing. Very, very member-centered. You'll see and hear more about that. We really exist for them, and in fact, we're owned by them. So that's how it goes. And we take clearly our model of service to the member institutions, but we're equally committed to serving you because you're the ones who create the things that generate the value that our members need. The quote down at the bottom is from Maeve Cannon. She's very active in public sector law, procurement law. She's our outside counsel, also a strong advocate. And in her estimation, EdgeMarket is the premier technology co-op in the state of New Jersey, which is kind of cool since it's been around for just a little over 6 years in active form. So we're small, but as Adam says, mighty. That's what we do. So why is Edge different from some of the other master contract holding vehicles? Well, we're not for profit. We're member owned. We're a research and education corporation. We are driven by mission. We reinvest every dollar that's generated through the administrative fees to and toward that mission. So every time you close a deal, somebody's going to get a benefit from that beside what they purchased from you. There's a real active community of practitioners, and we want you to be a part of that. We're a driver and an innovator and a catalyst and a convener for that very same community. And there's a lot of knowledge. We know a lot, we've done a lot, really well established individuals and professionals inside of the Edge organization who've held roles in higher ed or in technology and service providing companies. And the bottom line is our members trust us. And then they trust the vehicles that we create. And that trust transmits to you as well. If we say you're worthy of an award and worthy of developing a relationship or having a meeting with, then that meeting is so much easier to have. That relationship is so much easier to build. And then you can do what you can do with that. By the numbers?
And just to put a finer point on it, the nonprofit status and reinvestment in the mission is not nothing in this process. We have heard from institutions who have joined the EdgeMarket co-op from all the way on the West Coast that part of the decision that made it really easy for them to sign on to EdgeMarket and use the contract with a vendor was that they liked that it was a nonprofit organization behind the co-op and operating in that way, and that this is part of a larger community. So in the go-to-market message and in the engagement message as the institutions are looking to make buying decisions, the alignment with a nonprofit entity as a co-op can really make a difference. So that's we want to make sure we're providing the enablement and the engagement to help you get that message across when appropriate. So
that's a great point. It might be a good point to stop and to see if anybody has any questions or comments thus far. Okay, we'll continue. I think Aaron Brink just joined us, Adam.
Yeah, hey, Aaron.
Hello, Aaron. So by the numbers, there are legally, there are more than 200 entities that could take advantage of our contract. So there's about 200 entities or so that are more present and active. And even inside New Jersey, people aren't necessarily fully aware of the EdgeMarket Co-op. So we're always building more knowledge. There's a lot of positional change and stuff like that. So always new people coming in to be made aware of this, but we are absolutely growing. You see that image of the map. We're illuminated in 28 states. If any of you have anybody in Oklahoma or Kansas, we'd love to have you do something because we want to bridge the coast to coast connector, and either one of those states will help us do exactly that. We've got over 70 active contracts. And we're actually been around long enough that the 5-year statutory expiration is causing us to have to do the rebids for the next generation of the same or similar kind of thing. So always rolling. We've generated the awardees collectively have generated over $250 million in revenues through EdgeMarket. And it's been kind of growing at a pretty good clip, and we think it's going to grow much more quickly as more states go deeper in terms of the participation from those states. We have a lot of very excited entities in individual states that are sharing the news with their peers. We have a number of very active awardees who are kind of the Johnny Appleseed, introducing Edge to people that have never heard of EdgeMarket, because that awardee has this very attractive contract vehicle that makes it easy for the buyer to buy and therefore them to sell. And that's a strong way for us to grow, and we're going to be leveraging that for penetration in those states. And we've got powerful legal statutory-driven authorities to allow us to do what we do and do it well. Active procurement pipeline. So just a status on some things. We've had 3 procurements close in recent months that we are concluding our contract negotiations for to get those on board and onboarded. From Unified Communication as a Service, UCAS, Linda is one of those awardees through CBTS in the first round. And she's one of the awardees in the second round. We're coming to closure on the agreement in there. And FSO-IAM is also one that we're concluding. And then Public Safety Operations Platform, the 911 call-in, police dispatch, that sort of thing, because there's lots of campus police departments, and certainly the municipalities leverage that platform. So we have a number of awardees in that category. Under evaluation, we released our third IT professional services family of procurements, and have a number of had a lot of participation in that. So we're going through all of those evaluations now, and we released and are now evaluating our second round of higher ed ecosystem procurements. And the higher ed ecosystem is based on a broad understanding and clear articulation of the business capability model of higher ed. So people that have student information systems, Catherine from Workday is on, I believe, on the call, and other applications that support admin functions, academic functions, or research, et cetera. Full spectrum. If you have solutions that support the spectrum, then we want to hear from you and create a structure and an approach to enable you to bring your portfolio in through this vehicle. Little heads up, we're going to be releasing ecosystem number 3. We're going to reiterate that in the fall. So I should have said ecosystem number, ecosystem number 2 is now. Ecosystem number 3
and
is
Dan,
on the
before
next
you keep going, I want to just highlight for the in the IT space, the OEMs or the direct vendors that might be in the room, or might view this afterwards. The IT Pro Services bid is of particular interest, and I would say for this reason, that may not be a bid that you directly bid on yourself if you are a vendor of cybersecurity software, or if you're producing hardware that institutions might use on their campus that your value-added resellers are reselling or configuring or implementing directly. But those VARs are the ones that are replying to this pro services bid. And with the latest versions of that pro services RFP, they are able to not only deliver services, but to attach uh, hardware and software to those contracts that they're engaging in with the institutions at the end of the day. So if even if as a let's pick, I see a couple of the guys from Cisco had registered. If you're Cisco and you're not replying to that IT professional services RFP yourselves, but you definitely want to make sure that your key implementation partners and resellers are replying to that bid because that gives them very broad access to deliver services and to attach your product along with those contracts. So that's really a key one to be aware of as we move forward. It's again something that we're going to continue to reissue on an ongoing cycle, and it's one to keep an eye on and to make sure that your key reseller partners are replying to. So just wanted to make that point of emphasis.
And if you're curious, you can go to edgemarket.njedge.net and get the story on those bids, and in particular, the IT professional services category. And you could also learn more about the higher ed ecosystem strategy approach, what that feels like, what its aim is. Those are the two most powerful broad spectrum procurements that we're doing on a cyclical basis. So check those out. Chances are anybody on the call could fit within, or as Adam said, their extended partners can fit within either one of those two procurements. So we seek leverage by doing those broad spectrum type of approaches. So up on the in the pipeline right now, we have an aging out mass notification services procurement that we're going to stand up. The world still needs that type of solution. Our largest generating contract is one known as TEX, the Technology Catalog for Hardware, Software, and Services. That was awarded to SHI back in 2021, so it's coming up on its 5-year life, and we are reimagining that and reconstituting our strategy for that into something we will call PRISM. It looks like that might change, but more of a contract platform that people responsible for research, innovation, and driving strategic missions, so kind of the entirety of the operation of an organization, can have access not just to the nuts and bolts hardware and the componentry and services, but also the deep services that are related to those things and some of the richer stuff in between. So we really want it to be a platform that our members can leverage to create broad stroke, big picture, strategic investments in technology that moves their needle in a big way. I mentioned higher ed ecosystem number 3. That's going to spin up at the late summer, so we can get another round of folks involved in that, and then generally every 9 months or a year or so, we'll continue to cycle 4, 5, 6, etc. We are exploring presently, so internal discussions mapping to the things that Edge is doing natively, but what the world also needs, and we try to keep a clear line between those, but strategically related. So like IT professional services, that series, we anticipate a series for AI-focused professional services, multiple dimensions or domains within or disciplines within. And we know that's a highly moving target, but we want to get into it, stay on it, and somewhat, if we can, be ahead of it and keep moving on a regular basis with that series as it takes form. Similarly, one of the things that we don't have a dedicated procurement for, but we know there's a need, is all the cybersecurity platforms and solutions, et cetera, different from cybersecurity services, really kind of the tools, the platforms, the enablements. We are looking at that. The bottom line is we're always open to your ideas. In as much as we hear from our members about things that they're thinking about or that they need and can we help them, you're out there talking to many, many more people all the time. Your companies are investing in things. If there's something you think that we would be well served and can then serve our members with by way of a procurement scope and idea, we'd love to hear from you. We'll have our contact information towards the end here. So
Yeah.
please jump in. Adam, you want to add anything?
Yeah, just to highlight that cybersecurity platform RFP that we're really starting to harden out is Yeah, you can think of that almost as the inverse of what I was talking about with the IT pro services RFP, in the sense that, again, I'll pick on Cisco because I see a couple of the names in the room, and I know, I know who they are as a vendor. But if Cisco were to reply to that RFP with some of their cybersecurity software solutions, could get that award and then use that award to nominate the right resellers across the country that are really doing a good job as a practitioner in that space. So you're not dependent on each individual reseller replying to an RFP. You can centralize that process as a vendor, nominate your resellers to participate in the contract because we trust that you know who your right community of implementers that's going to take good care of the contract users is, and use that as sort of the force multiplier in that category. So another example of just the way we're looking at using these ecosystem-based RFPs to give broader, more rapid, more impactful access to solutions to the user community at the end of the day. So just another thing to kind of keep an eye on and noodle with as we get ready to bring that to market.
Any questions at this point from anybody?
Yeah, how you doing? This is Greg Nadler with Palo Alto. When you guys decide on exploring like one of these topics, like the cybersecurity one, what is kind of your process from, hey, we think we need something around cybersecurity specifically, to here's what's going to go out for a bid? Like just so I, because I'm new to working with Edge, so I just want to make sure I
Mhm.
understand sort of the mind frame you guys are going to, and then when the bid comes out, what does that actually look like? Is it just sort of an open RFI style? Is it more specific in terms of like we are looking for XYZ solutions, etc.?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, and Adam and I could tag team on that,
Yeah.
but I'll just open up. You're hearing that we're really a listening organization. We also have strong practitioner capability inside the organization. In fact, in cybersecurity, we have a practice and a person who delivers strong cybersecurity services. So, speaking with people like Don Dunkerley, but also leaders in the institutions, and
Yeah.
then Greg, people like yourselves, to say, look, we have the capability at Edge to stand up a procurement, and it probably wouldn't be an RFI, although some might. We haven't done one, we haven't had to do one yet. We said pretty good clarity, but if we were to give you the marker, there's the whiteboard, what's the landscape look like? Where's it going? And how would you break it down into categories and then describe those categories? So we could go to the market and say, look, we see in IT Pro Services, there were 8 categories that we're able to name, describe, give a scope. And it's not like we're asking people to say, do you do all these things and to what extent? It's like, this is the scope that we're seeking to do, seeking to solve for. How, does your product do that? How does it do it? We have all the perfunctory, technology questions, architecture, those sort of things, security, et cetera. But we really want to drive to, does the solution map to the problem in a way that we can validate? And do you have market success with that? Adam, you want to add to any of that?
Yeah, just the engagement really does come from, so yeah, Dan mentioned inside expertise, but then also, working directly with CIOs and CISOs in our member network that we have great relationships with, to learn about how they're looking to consume solutions in these categories, and what the understanding of the market is as far as breaking some of this stuff down. In cybersecurity platform, in the cybersecurity RFP, that might look like some just a handful of categories, like managed detection and response, or next generation firewalls, and XYZ, and whatever number of categories and range of services that make sense to effectively engage the market. So because of the stage we're at now, where we're kind of in that brainstorming phase, again, we're also really happy to hear from you and your teams. So, Greg, if the team at Palo Alto wanted to help to educate Edge and help to shape our thinking about what some of those really relevant categories in the cybersecurity hardware and software space are right now, we're all ears and we can take that feedback. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a great question.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it, and yeah, would love the opportunity.
Yep. Great question. Are there others? Okay, I'm going to keep going because we have some a cool thing to do next. So Pathways to Value. I mentioned the Pathways to Value magazine. It's an absolutely gorgeous magazine, and I'm proud. I got to show it off. I think it's the most cool thing, and it weighs a lot. It's heavy. It's very heavy. It's about a quarter inch thick, 120 pages, very glossy, and it's kind of cool. I don't know if you can see it well, but it's View from the Edge on one side, which is the corporate flagship magazine. You flip it over, it's Pathways to Value. And there's all kinds of great stories. And this is our inaugural issue that I was just holding up. And it's really about the stories from the community, different perspectives from Maeve Cannon was one of the providers in the first article profile in the first one, but so was CBTS and Geneva College. And you'll hear about a little bit of that from Linda in just a minute, but a variety of other things, Catherine Herzog and Iron Brick, Workday, those folks and others. And the second issue coming up, because they're twice a year, some other wonderful stories, great people doing very cool things, and people love it. And Adams and his team has built a great distribution. There's about 1,000 or so cabinet level executives in the Northeast region that get the physical copy and have for years of the View from the Edge magazine. There are 50,000 people who get weekly newsletters from Edge, but also twice a year they get the access to these electronic magazines in digital form. And Adam and his team do a great job of leveraging the articles in many, many different ways. So it's kind of a cool thing, and it's a desirable magazine. People look forward to receiving it. Lots of stuff in that. Now, in that magazine, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Linda Mazoil from CBTS. She's Executive Account Manager. You're seeing two of the pages, I think a 4-page article about the work she and the team at CBTS did with Geneva College in Northwest Pennsylvania. And what we asked Linda to do is to talk with you about her perspective of being an EdgeMarket awardee, becoming a real member of the community, and what that has meant to her, to CBTS, and also to our members. So Linda, very, very happy to have you on board. Great to thank you very much for doing this. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Hey, Linda. Good to see you.
Hi, Adam. Good to see you too. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. And yes, from my experience, let me just say that CBTS, you helped put us on the map in New Jersey for the public sector. There's no question about it. It's a direct result of the relationship and the award that we received with Edge for the UCAS bid. CBTS does have a national presence in the public sector with large states across the country, but we didn't have really presence locally until about 5 years ago when our relationship began. And from a national perspective, we have relationships with other, I'll call them Wrens, and I know you're much more than a Wren, but that's kind of how some folks look at it.
Yeah.
And I always make that comparison that Edge is so much more than a regional education network, that they're really a full 360 provider of solutions and help for the public institutions. So let me go back to the beginning when we were awarded the UCAS bid in 2020, I'll say, which was a difficult time and challenging time, but that really gave us an opportunity to meet the Edge member community, and not just meet them via email, but meet them, well, at that point we were remote for a while, but then eventually we got to meet the community through your Edge conferences and the quarterly EdgeCon events. And that to me, I think is, yes, we're in the magazines, which is awesome, and the procurement website and on your website. But I also feel like the value as a salesperson is when we go to the events and we meet the members in person. Because as salespeople, we all know we can email them and call them until we're blue in the face. But when you see them in person, and you have a connection, that's really what translates into the next steps and building that relationship. And that's really the efforts and the credibility that you all have built with your process, with your bids, your contracts, and the events that you've established. So that has been significant to CBTS for the Northeast market. And that is where, when we talk about Geneva, which is featured in this article, that is where we met the CIO of Geneva, was at an Edge event. And we really were able to dig in with him about his challenges around networking, what he was facing, and then walk that path with him for the correct solution. So that was really the Edge, you guys gave us the opportunity to do that and connect with the members and bring value. And as a result, we've grown our business significantly and established, I think, a good reputation with the members for the value that we bring. So I don't know of anybody else that does that, any other rent or any other organization. So thank you.
Well,
If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate you the perspective and appreciate you saying that, Linda. That's always great to hear. And we think of CBTS really in that engagement mode as kind of the model EdgeMarket vendor, right? You guys came in without really having a presence locally, and made the investment of time and energy, and came out and became a part of the community. And that really makes all the difference. And your regular fixtures at the EdgeCon events. You're always submitting sessions in partnership with institutions, which is exactly what we love to see, kind of getting out there and telling those stories together. So, we appreciate the time and effort that goes behind all of that to really make the most of what EdgeMarket and Edge as an organization can do, because it's really got to be that two-way street, right? So we really
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you too. So thank you.
And it's been my pleasure to work with Linda from day one on this. And my philosophy is this, and my observation after 40 years of working in the community, most of us could work anywhere, but we somehow choose to work in this community. And that tells me we're all good people wanting to do good things for other good people. And when we see that each other that way, we want to go shoulder to shoulder and create things that can help these people that are, they're in a battle, right? Higher ed is just in a battle for a lot of things, and we get to help them, and we're committed to doing it. So finding ways to do it together, becoming pathways to value for them, means becoming pathways to value for each other. And that's the ethos around here. And Linda just exhibits and exudes that, which is why she's the person to speak on the inaugural event of this webinar and modeled all of those things that you just do. She does it naturally, but sometimes there are folks that are awarded that don't quite know what to do next. So this is sort of a map of the things to think about. How to make EdgeMarket work for you. It's kind of just basic blocking and tackling. It's like when you move into a new neighborhood, you could either never say hi to anybody for 5 years and always be those new people who are quiet, and then wonder why the neighborhood's not so friendly, or just jump in. You're going to find that the water's warm, that the Edge team really wants to engage with you. And the person who really drives that energy like no other I've ever seen is Erin Brink. She's on the call. Didn't quite have enough time to put headshots in here. I think the next one we will.
I'm here.
But there you go. There's Erin. I'd love you to say hi and introduce yourself and kind of what you want to be to the folks that are on the call.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Brink, Director of Member Engagement. I work directly with our institutions to help guide them to Edge resources, which also includes our partner community. I've been tasked to work more strategically with our partners in the past 6 months to help them be more successful. And I do that in a variety of ways. A couple of you have heard this before, and I see some familiar faces. But number one, so I work directly with institutions. So in any of our membership, we will always do a warm introduction for you. If there's a school, especially in New Jersey, even outside of New Jersey, that we're working with, where you would like an introduction, I am available to do that. I've done that for some of you on the call already. And that is one of your opportunities you can always take advantage of. Regular cadence calls. Linda absolutely gets this. We have regular cadence calls with myself and Michelle Ferrara, my counterpart, and we talk about opportunities, what we're seeing in the market, who we need to get in touch with, how we can help them be more successful in moving an opportunity along. Uh, Warm hand-holding onboarding a member. So a lot of people just think of Edge as New Jersey. I know that I probably missed where we're in 28 states and counting. There are states and schools who can join that I will warm hand-hold them through the process. What that means is you can email me and say, hey, I'm trying to sign up a member in Iowa, and can you get on a call? There was a partner who asked me to do that. The school had lost procurement. The partner had gotten me involved. I got on a call with the CFO. They signed the one-page paperwork. They were very comfortable after I introduced Edge and who we are, and they were able to close the deal within 48 hours. It's that easy. There is no cost to these schools to join. We would love to be your first contract of choice in and out of New Jersey. So I will always be responsive if you ask me to warm on board somebody. And everybody on the call can attest to that, that works with me. I think that's it as far as what we provide. If you come to our events, which I believe Adam already talked about, and you're at an event, I will walk you over to whoever in the room you want to meet and make sure that you get connected with the people that you're trying to connect with. We absolutely want you to be successful with your contract, and that is what I'm here to do. Any questions?
It's as we wait to take any questions, and please jump off mute and turn your video on if you do have questions there. And Dan, if you can flip back, I'm going to add
Yeah.
just a little bit of color as well.
Hmm.
Aaron's role is really about helping to amplify your business development process. Once you receive an award from EdgeMarket, that really becomes your hunting license nationally, and Linda was able to shed some light on how CBTS has come in and engaged locally in New Jersey and the region. But we also exist to help you really accelerate that process wherever you're trying to do business. And that's what Aaron's talking about, being able to jump in and help to onboard members and help to speed up that process for you. We want to be as much of your business development process as you'd like us to, because everybody on the call does a great job out there of engaging directly with the higher ed community. But when it comes to helping to move the needle on procurement, we can jump in and be that extra tool in your bag to just help move that process along even faster, and amplify the things that you already do really well with that sort of community-based nonprofit, reputation boost that comes from being a part of a co-op like Edge. So, Erin is awesome at jumping in and being a part of that process, and at, like she said, kind of strategizing with you on how to better engage with institutions that you're interested in getting in touch with. So we really want to be that additional tool at your disposal in the business development process, and then also in the messaging and communications process. So Dan mentioned, and we highlighted specifically pathways to value. We kind of treat the magazine as an open call for proposals to the vendor community. We're always in production on the next issue. If you know anything about the editorial process on that kind of thing, when you're putting together a big beefy magazine like that, even if it's every 6 months or so, as soon as one goes to print, you're getting ready for the next one. So if you're a part of the Edge Market Co-op already, and you have really cool stories like what CBTS did with Geneva College, we always want to be a venue to tell those stories. Our in-house writers and editors conduct interviews, they write up the feature articles, and then collaborate with your marketing teams to make sure that everything is sort of meeting spec and looking good before we go to print. So that's always an opportunity that's available to you, as well as our newsletter that goes out every Friday, News from the Edge. We have a segment in the newsletter that focuses on EdgeMarket partners. And so if you have a new case study that your organization has published, or if you're trying to push people to register for a webinar that you're hosting, or whatever new piece of a video, or whatever new piece of content that you might want to point people towards, you can send that on a weekly basis over to our team, and get featured in that newsletter. And that's, free of charge. We want to make that available because we want people to know about what our partners are up to, because you wouldn't have received an award through the RFP if we didn't think you were going to do great work. So we want to help amplify that great work. And then, of course, getting engaged with the community at our EdgeCon conferences. We always have sponsorships available for those events. We really recommend folks to come out and have a presence and get to know the folks in our community. As Aaron said, that's where we're able to really help build relationships and make introductions, and that's always a great part of the process. We also encourage vendors to submit a proposal in the call for proposals. For vendors, we do really encourage you guys to submit directly, but to submit with an institution, to be able to tell a story of transformation, to be able to highlight a case study of something you really successfully helped an institution or an organization do. That helps the attendees really see themselves in your world and see how you can really move the needle for them when they hear it coming from a peer. So we do, if you're doing something completely revolutionary that blows our socks off, we might do a session that's vendor only, but we really, really kind of soft require a session submitted in partnership with an institution, but that gets the best results at the conferences anyway. So we always have a plethora of opportunities available for you to engage, message, market, get the word out about all the good stuff you're up to through and in partnership with Edge. So please take advantage of that stuff.
I know we've come up to the end of the schedule time. Adam and I and Aaron, I'm sure, could stick around for those of you that would like to stick around. But if you have to leave, thank you for attending. I know someone has already dropped. We hope this has been helpful, and we hope this sort of sets the tone in your mind about how it is to be a part of the community and how we want to inform and engage and equip you and develop a relationship with you. So happy to entertain questions and conversations for those of you that wish. But thanks for attending. This is encouraging to us as well.
Thanks, Joe. Good to see you on here.
Thanks, Joe.
And I did see a couple notes in the chat earlier about wanting to follow up, so we can definitely have some side conversations as well. But if you have any questions, big picture, little picture, tactical, strategic, or otherwise, we'll be here for a couple minutes if you wanna ask.
You want me to stop sharing, Adam, so we can do
that?
Oh,
sure.
okay.
That
So, hey guys, this is Greg again. I guess my other
Hey.
question would be, if we are not do not have one of these contracts, right? Like the cybersecurity one hasn't come out or whatever.
Yeah.
How else can we engage with the community, or are there other mechanisms for us to be able to, get out in front of these folks? Just trying to again understand what I've only been covering Edge for 6 months or so. I was at the fall show or the winter show, I should say. And so I just want to make sure that I'm maximizing both my time and the community's time when we're kind of engaged together.
Yeah, so I mean, I think coming out to the conferences is a great way to engage, and whether a vendor is a direct contract holder with EdgeMarket or not, we love you to come out and be a part of those shows. I think being a regular fixture is really the way to build those relationships and get that going, get the momentum going over time. I think Linda and CBTS were a great example of that, becoming regular faces at the conferences. And building those relationships and building pipeline from there. So I would definitely encourage you to come back out to events. I think, for Palo Alto, for you guys specifically, the spring conference focused on digital teaching and learning maybe is not the ideal forum, but the autumn conference and winter are both great places to be. So, would love to have you come back out there.
Absolutely.
On the contract side, there are a couple things I would focus on, for you guys as a direct vendor, as an OEM. The pro services contract, taking a look at, who of your reseller partners might be on that contract and might be able to position. Yeah, there, Linda's raising her hand.
I
So,
was going to say, I know
so
one.
yep. So
With
CBTS is
security
definitely one.
services, yes,
Yeah.
our services rather, yes.
Right. So the ability to now attach to attach vendor hardware, software to some of those pro services engagements is one angle to certainly look at, because your VARs who are providing service are going to be looking to make that a part of their mix. So I would definitely encourage you to review that list and engage there, and as we roll out, because the number 3 that's under review right now is going to be the first one that enables that attachment of hardware and software. So as we publish that list of awarded vendors, I would encourage you to take a look there and see who of the VAR community you can engage with from that perspective. The other one is the what is right now the TEX contract, and is going to evolve to Prism or something like that. But via the TEX agreement, SHI has their entire catalog of hardware and software available on the EdgeMarket co-op. And so, assuming you guys are an EdgeMarket partner, which I'm pretty sure Palo Alto is, or is an SHI partner,
Yes,
which
we
I'm
are.
pretty sure Palo Alto is, that is a venue to be able to do that, as long as an organization is interested in purchasing through SHI, they can purchase your hardware, software today via that vehicle as well. So there are a couple angles you can take there.
But Adam,
Awesome.
can we also do, I think through Carasoft, Palo through
There is
Carasoft?
Carasoft as well, which is not EdgeMarket, the co-op. But if you are a partner with Carasoft, we do have a separate vehicle via our lead agency status in New Jersey that sort of maps to the GSA Schedule 70, that we're able to draw vendors through directly, and you would be able to that side is specific to New Jersey. It's not national in the way that the EdgeMarket Co-op is, but there is that path via Carasoft locally,
Mhm.
to be able to engage, and resellers are able to leverage that contract as well.
And that's what
Okay.
I've used, Greg, just to let you know,
Okay.
um, in that situation. Obviously, I'm not SHI and I'm a competitor, so I'm using a different vehicle for the Palo stuff.
Got it. Understood.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a
and then
great
I
call
guess
out. Thanks, Linda.
the other
What's
question
that?
I would have for you is, are you guys looking to act as like an MSP in any way, or is everything strictly like you're creating a marketplace and you just are connecting the schools to the vendors?
So on your side of things, it really is more marketplace based. Our own security services that Dan mentioned earlier really stop at the executive and advisory and assessment level. So we're not doing the engineering or integration work in any way. And so, being that the MSP role is not really the right role for us on the security side. We do virtual CISO work, and we do sort of assessment, privacy, compliance, consulting, those sorts of things. But we don't touch any of the integration or engineering. So MSP is not really in the cards for us, but we want to enable MSPs to be able to resell and engage and manage your stuff for the institutions when appropriate.
Understood. Okay. No, that helps. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Great
Cool.
dialogue.
Yeah, this is great. This is what we wanted to do here. If there are any other questions, we'll be happy to take them. If not, I think maybe this is a good place to call it. Thanks everybody for spending so much time with us this afternoon and being a part of the first version, the first edition of the Pathways to Value webinar. We're going to do these quarterly. We're going to highlight different vendor success stories in these. We're going to highlight new members as new institutional participants and things as they join, if there are really cool highlights to call out. which recently include the University of Florida and the University of Virginia and some really big names across the country, which is really cool. But we'll keep everybody updated on that stuff as it happens. And just highlight new opportunities to get engaged, new procurements that are coming up, things like that. So these are going to be hosted quarterly. We invite you to join them quarterly or as you're available to. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of this with us today. And we will talk to you soon, hopefully. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.